Hello, everyone. This is Kyla from Hidden Gems Literary Emporium, your family owned nonprofit community bookstore. And today we have two very special guests, the authors of Gate Trilogy, Stories from the Seatback Pocket. So we have Miss Betty Gossell and Miss Karen Pickens here. Thank you both for joining us today.
Hi,
Thank you.
thanks for having us.
No problem. And so, what state are you two from?
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. All right. And so I want to begin by asking you to both introduce yourself, I guess individually and as a pair, and talk a little bit about the inspiration behind this book and I guess how you guys got going with writing it together as a team.
Well, I'll go first. I've spent most of my working life as a healthcare consultant, and I traveled extensively for my job for almost 10 years. I was on 2 or 3 flights every week. So when it came time to write a book and thinking of ideas, travel just came very natural to me. Um, Karen was on her first flight when she was 4 months old. So travel as well was something for her, really um, easy for her to write about as well. Uh, the idea for the book came from I was changing planes in Atlanta, and we were on a delayed flight sitting out on the tarmac, and it was really hot. And I was searching in the seat back pocket of the seat in front of me and for looking for something to use as a fan to cool off because I was really hot. And I found the boarding pass for the person who had been in the seat on the previous flight. And her name was Lisa something. And I remember thinking about her life and wondering where she was going and what her life was like. And so I just kind of started putting stories with the people as I looked around the plane, made up little stories about them. So that's kind of where the idea for the book originated. Probably, about 15 years ago now, Karen? Something like that?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yep.
So now, after your flight, you have a collection of these short stories, right?
Yeah.
And so, how soon after that did you talk to your daughter and say we should put a book together?
I think she came to me. Oh, I mean, it was a few years later that we, kind of had the time together to talk about it. And she was talking, oh, this would be nice to do. And I thought, well, let's just write some stuff out and just see if it looks possible. And I think we, originally just wanted to get the stories out just to get them out of our head, get them on paper, and print a couple copies for the family. And then that turned into, well, what if we made 100 copies or 500 copies or something? And it just kind of took off from there.
And it's so, first of all, the story of how this was born is quite
Mm.
interesting. And you always hear about, well, people call it people watching, but
Mhm.
I call it observing your environment. And so
Absolutely.
you think similar, when we're walking around, we see people, and sometimes you get certain vibes from people you don't even know, or you start thinking about them. So what a unique and cool idea to write these stories and put them all together. And it's one of those things that can and will inspire other people to do the same. Readers of this book, they might say, I am going to Mexico next week. Let me just look around, and so it's really cool that you guys are inadvertently, or maybe you did think about this when you wrote this book, inspiring people to also write short stories.
Hmm.
We've had a
Well, I
lot of
think one of
people.
yeah, go ahead, Mama.
We had a lot of people who've told us that anytime they're on a plane now, they look around at their other people and think about things differently.
Mhm.
And, I wonder about that girl across the aisle. I wonder where she's going. So We've had a lot of people who have reported that back to us, that they've
Right.
changed their outlook when they're in group situations.
And I think one of the overarching kind of messages that wasn't necessarily intended, but it just sort of happened, was that, you know, we tend to kind of judge people in that moment, you know, by how they look and by how they're acting in that moment. And travel is stressful, can be sometimes, or exciting. And, you know, but when these characters kind of open up to the strangers sitting next to each other, they find out that there's a whole different story below the surface of that. And so, you know, being open to the similarities and differences of the people right beside you, that we have more in common with each other than we have different.
Very, very true. I would like to flip open to a random page, actually. I'm just going to read the paragraph that I see. Okay, I flipped open, I'm on page 121, and I'm in chapter 6 called STL to MEM. And this is about someone named Will Evans.
No.
Are these characters are based on real people, kind of, right?
Well, there's
yes and no.
There's little bits of, one person is a lot of me. There's a lady named Jean, who is very much a lot of my story. But we drew on different people that we knew, different situations, not anyone particular, but just kind of composites of people that we've met over the years.
Right.
Okay. So my eye just went to this paragraph on page 121. But Will thought about him all the time. I don't know who him is right now.
His father. His mother and father are divorced when he was very young.
Okay. But Will thought about him all the time. As much as he loved and respected his mother, he really missed having a dad around. When he was at the mall or church and saw boys his age sitting with their dads, he felt a pang of loss and jealousy. And he could not help but feel that dad's absence was somehow his fault. Had he done something wrong that would make his dad not care about him anymore? Maybe his dad would have paid more attention to him if he were smarter, more athletic. He knew that he looked a lot like his dad. Wait, what? He knew that he looked a lot like his dad had when he was a young boy. A crooked smile and dimples that everyone thought were cute. He had one family picture that had been taken the last Christmas they were all together before the divorce. Interesting. We like doing that. I like doing that with when I'm interviewing authors, but also when people come into the book, so they're trying to figure out what they want to read. I said, just flip it open and read what's at your eye. So even in this instance now, that paragraph is making me wonder, who is Will? What's wrong with Will? Is he gonna be okay? Is he gonna get old? So yeah, I'm glad that. So tell us a little bit about Will without telling us too much, of course.
Well, the way Karen and I broke out the book, there's 8 short stories in each one of our little books. I took 4 and she took 4. And Will happened to be one of mine. He's a young boy traveling by himself on an airplane to visit his dad. His parents divorced when he was very young, hadn't had much contact with his dad at all. But now his dad has reached out to him and he's going to visit him after a very long absence between the two of them. So he's really conflicted. He's very loyal to his mother, but yet he feels that his life would have been different if he'd had a dad around. So it's a lot about his inner turmoil of, if I love my dad, is that being disloyal to my mom?
And how relatable is that for people who have gone through divorce? My parents got divorced when I was 14. And so I love how relatable that is. Even when I was reading it, I'm thinking about myself being 14 and your parents going through divorce and all the things that happen. And so I love when.
Well,
go ahead.
my mom raised me as a single mom. So listening to you read that sounds like even though she wrote that, it sounds an awful lot like a lot of things that I used to think in my head. So she really
Mhm.
channeled me on that one. So
Well, you two seem like a very close mother and daughter, I will say.
definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Yes. Okay. Do you two plan on writing any other books in the future?
Well, mom has a couple of other things going on, and I've got a couple things going on my own. As far as writing together, we haven't really decided. I think this is where the trilogy part is where these stories will probably stop for me, but I don't know. I'm open to it in the future. I think we make an interesting team because we both write very, very differently, the way that we write practically and emotionally. And so it always surprises me how things come together between us. So I'm open to it.
What about you,
Yeah,
Ma?
I've got two other books that I've done by myself,
Mhm.
and I've got a couple other things that I'm working on. Um, but no, we haven't talked about doing anything together. But it was really fun for us to do them together. Like Karen said, we work very differently.
Mhm.
She does all of her typing on her phone.
Mhm.
I take a notepad and sit outside in the sun, or maybe go to IHOP and sit in the corner and write it out by longhand and then type it. So our methods are different. Our style of writing is different. It's very,
Mhm.
but I think we came together in it and into something that was pretty unique.
Yeah.
Was reading and writing a big part of both of you all's childhood? How did you first, get introduced to books and reading and writing at young
Oh.
ages?
Well, mom taught me to read when I was about two, so I've been reading forever. And I can remember being probably second or third grade and writing little short stories or little just little puzzles and quizzes and stuff for my friends. And so all that has always played a huge part in my life. I think, we didn't have cable growing up, so I got my escape through books. And um, I think I wouldn't have it any other way. I think you can be more, you can lose yourself and create your own, realities that way. So definitely for me, it's always been huge. And you know mom's bookcases were always overflowing with books when I was growing up, so I know she did as well. So
Oh, I've always loved to read. I was reading long before I started school as well. And writing, I loved writing it like when I was in high school and creative writing classes and stuff. I had a teacher who really pushed me to, that's good, but it could be better. She
mm,
pushed me really hard to think of different ways to express things. But yeah, reading, I was always reading any chance I got when I was growing up.
What's one piece of advice you would give either a mother daughter writing team or two people who I told you we have you guys, mother and daughter. We have another couple who's husband and wife, and then we have
mm,
another pair of friends. So if you for people out there who are thinking of or in the process of writing a book with a friend or their mom or their
mm.
daughter or whoever who may have different writing styles like you two do, what do you think is one of the most important things to remember while working in this type of team?
I would say that having different writing styles is not a deal breaker. I mean, for me, I'm very much more wordy and floral with my language, and my mom is much more perfunctory. She's used to, business and corporate writing, which is very succinct, and mine is, I'll take 100 words, when she'll take five, and so that's not necessarily a deal breaker. You can learn to compromise that piece. I think honestly, between us, the hardest part for me was having an expectation in the beginning of what the end goal is. you know, I think because we kind of kept moving the goalposts of, well, let's just, you know, let's finish this just to have it, and well, let's make more copies, and let's, you know, have a launch party, and let's do a sequel, and let's do a trilogy. And so it kind of kept pushing out. And that was harder for me, that I was, you know, okay, I've done it and I'm ready to move on. And she was like, no, let's do more with it. And I've always been, you know, very pleased with where it came. But I think the only moments of friction that I can remember us having during the process was just having a little bit of a different end goal for the project. So trying to agree on that up front would be good.
Yeah. And my only thing was, you do need someone who is the one that's in charge, I guess. Keeper of the schedules and whatever, because it can get delayed and prolonged. And you know, I had to take that role partially because it was, you know, it was my baby originally. The book was my idea, but also being the mom, I kind of, you know, had to be the taskmaster, but the keeper of the schedule. But
and I am the master procrastinator, so, you know, have someone with a schedule that will keep it and keep you accountable.
Yeah, but the benefits and the fun that we had doing it together far outweighed any of the friction of missing a deadline, or, oh, I don't want to have another party. You know, what we got to share by doing it together far outweighed any of the extra challenges, I think.
Well, and one of my favorite stories too from the process was, I was about to miss a deadline. I was like, I am not going to have this done. I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know how to finish this chapter. And she was on the verge of doing it for me, of just saying, you know what, if you can't get it done, I'll do it. And I pushed through and I finished it. And she was like, Karen, I wrote down almost exactly the same thing. Like, we had gotten to a point where we knew exactly where the story wanted to go, even without talking to each other. We had followed just the same wavelength to the end of the story. So yeah, it was a really cool experience when she read that the first time and was like, did we talk about this? And I said, no. And she said, I almost wrote the exact same thing. So.
Wow. And that is one of the positives or benefits of working
Absolutely
with someone who, like you two, known each other your whole lives. I mean, that's your daughter. And so what greater connection than that, or partner to write something down or create. So last question for you two ladies. We always encourage our readers, of course, to go on our website, check out this interview so that they can get to know you two a little bit better, and learn more about, you know, your project, the book, what you guys have going on. But if a reader or somebody watching this video would like to connect with you online, maybe send you an email, ask a question, leave a review, what are the best ways for people to connect with you online?
I have an author page on Amazon. So that's a place, you know, to leave reviews. As far as connecting with me, I'm not.
I would say you can go through my Instagram, which is KL Pickens 81, and that'll get you in touch with either of us. So.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. And for the last time, for now, of course, on this video, I would like to encourage everyone to come on by Hidden Gems Literary Emporium and get your copy of Gate Trilogy by Miss Betty Gossell and Miss Karen Pickens, all the way from Oklahoma.
That's right.
Oklahoma.
This is obviously a great book to read when you're traveling. But not just that, just, you know, in general, if you like short stories, we really love books with short stories in them, because it's more. You are getting more, I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you're getting more. So we look forward to reading this book. We read all of our independent author books cover to cover, and we post a review on our website and also on goodreads.com.
Okay, cool.
So, we're looking forward to that. And I'm glad that we had this interview and got to know you a little bit better. And I hope we can stay in touch because I'd be interested to read more of your stories and works as you continue to publish. I'm sure you both have a lot of plans that you want to share with the world. So we appreciate you for putting forth a work of literary art that is now a part of history. Generations from now, people will be able to look up this book and be inspired by it. It's permanent. It's here.
Wow.
Good. So we appreciate you and thank you so much to you both for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem at all. I hope you two have a lovely rest of your day.
Thanks, you
Thanks,
too.
you too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.